All right, so we hit up these two exact same guys. He's doing a checking out Jerusalem, and then we have to skip a day because the evening tide makes it another day when he went to Bethany, and then it says on the morrow, so that would be more appropriate, more accurate. And it curses the fig tree, okay, and in the evening, or excuse me, and in the morning, yeah, the chronology, yeah, and in the morning. So we know that that's an exact next day. Let's go ahead and read that. We're looking at Mark 11:20. So we're picking up on Aviv 7, Mark 11:20 up here. Over here is what Matthew's doing, but we're not doing Matthew. We're right now just going over Luke. Mark. And in the morning, as they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. And Peter, calling to remembrance, saith unto him, Master, behold, the fig tree which thou cursest is withered away. And Jesus answering saith unto them, Have faith in God, for verily I say unto you, that whoever shall say unto this mountain, probably the Mount of Olives, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shalt not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. And when ye stand praying, forgive, if ye have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses. But if ye do not forgive, neither will your Father, which is in heaven, forgive your trespasses. Okay? And in the morning, as they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. Aviv 7. Okay? And then after we read, it's just he's going to go in and say, and he's going to be given him what authority. But look at these look at these roots, okay? And on the morrow, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. What fig tree? Okay? Excuse me, right here, this one. And in the morning they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. That's 11:20. And in the morning they saw it dried up from the roots. Okay? And if we remember back in 12 to 19, we read in Mark, and in the morrow when they were come from Bethany, so they're going from Bethany to Jerusalem, okay? And they see a fig tree afar off having leaves, all right? You with me? So we got the leaves here, and they heard it. And in the morning, on their way to Jerusalem, okay, they're going to Jerusalem, they're passing by the same fig tree. Peter remarks it's dried up from the roots. So that's important because when we're over here in Matthew, we've got a quick Matthew talking about the fig tree, and when the disciples saw it is another day. We know this from Mark. Mark takes 2 days, just like the sign of Jonah, the gourd that dried up in a day after God sent a worm. Jesus is the worm. Jesus touched the fig tree. Leaves, roots. Leaves, roots. Okay. Now in the morning, he walked by seen a fig tree afar off. He cursed it. And immediately and presently it withered away. Okay, it did not go to dust. The leaves withered away. And when the disciples saw it, because they only heard it the first day, according to Mark, Matthew's not recording that they even heard it or saw it. But the next day when they saw it, because it continues here that Peter remarks on the roots, it's dried up from the roots. That matches up with this. This is the exact same day, the exact same event. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, we just read that. So Mark 11:20 to 26, he picks it up by the roots, and this is where they all three converge, and they're all asked the exact same thing: by what authority? Okay, this is where we all get these three. By what authority? By what authority? By what authority? Okay, Luke gives an answer regarding the destruction of the temple. This should actually just be moved up a little bit. Because it's answered. This is the teacher's edition answer. This happened on the 7th, but it happened right after that because he's at the Temple Mount talking about 68 AD. These two guys give the exact same words, just like these two guys gave the exact same words. These two guys give the exact same words on the end of days. Well, they're both kind of mixed, but you'll be able to figure it out. But this is at the Temple Mount, the temple itself, and then this is outside the temple at the Temple Mount, where he's yelling, uh, calling them fools twice, saying "woe" 8 times that we already kind of mentioned. But I'm just saying the fig tree. They saw the roots. These two guys verify the fig tree roots on that day, and then both of them hit into the what authority. We're gonna question. Read this one real quick. Oh, where are we at here? Mark 11:27. And they come again to Jerusalem. Remember, they were doing the fig tree, okay? And then the second day they came by the fig tree from Bethany to Jerusalem. In the middle of their heat, they comment on the roots, and now they're in Jerusalem, okay? And they come again to Jerusalem, and as he was walking in the temple, there come to him the chief priests and the scribes and the elders, and say unto him, By what authority doest thou these things? And who gave thee this authority to do these things? Two things. Where, let's see, what authority or by who? Let's just read Matthew real quick to verify. And when he was come into the temple, the chief priests and the elders of the people came unto him as he was teaching and said, By what authority doest thou these things? And who gave thee this authority? Luke. And it came to pass that on one of those days, okay, one of those teaching days, as he taught the people in the temple, one of those teaching days, and preached the gospel, the chief priests and the scribes came upon him with the elders and spake unto him, saying, Tell us by what authority doest thou these things, or who is he that gave thee this authority? Oops, sorry. Ouch. Okay, anyway, so those things all are where they all align. So if you think this is the triumphal entry, and this is the triumphal entry of Bethany, you think this is Jerusalem triumphal entry, in Luke, even over here in Luke, even now at the descent of the Mount of Olives, it's not a Jerusalem triumphal entry. We've got these three guys saying in Jesus' own words, after 2 days is the feast of the Passover. After 2 days is the 10th. Remember our little map? Passover, the feast of Passover, the feast of unleavened bread, unleavened, when they kill the lamb, the Jews' holiday, you're all looking for the 14th. Well, you need to look for the 10th, because we don't really have a name for that 12-day event, that first spring moed. We don't really have a name for it. Passover means sacrifice. That's the one day. 2 days before the 10th. 2 days before the 10th. The 10th drew nigh. Okay? Now, how do we know this is the 7th? Because of the woman. The woman is the one key. She's the lock. And that's where we pick up on John. John. Then Jesus, 6 days before the Passover, the sacrifice. 6 days before the 14th, the 8th. The 8th. Okay? The 7th. He's at Lazarus's and gets his feet anointed. And being in Bethany, he's at Simon's and gets the stuff dumped on his head. It's a different day. Okay? And we know that because she does his feet, and then Judas says, how about the $300 worth? That was the next day. Because these three guys at Simon's in Bethany, where it's only where it's definitely the head, she actually broke it. You can't reverse these around. She did the feet first at a different location, the head and his whole body, but that was for his burial. And these two record that Simon said it could be 300. Luke doesn't mention the 300, but the 300 mention has to be another day over here for John, and that does match 6 days before the 14th being the 8th. This woman is the key that put all of this together. What do we have after being in Bethany at Simon's? Okay, and we know that this is another day just by these words. And the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover. Okay, it's backwards already. What's he talking about? If you think the Passover is a one-day event on the 14th, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread for 7 days is the next, this is going to sound stupid and confusing to you. Put a little trust in the authors. And the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover. That's like you've told somebody the entire law, and now you're reminding them about this 12-day event that begins on the 10th. Okay? And that's the 10th. He said on that day. And they said, and it continues. Where should we go that we should prepare the Passover? That's what you do. You choose your lamb on the 10th. That's how you start to prepare for a Passover. That's what they're talking about. These guys all match up with the same thing. Just funkier words that you wouldn't understand if you think it's a one-day event. With listen to this guy. Now the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay, the 15th? No. Where should we go to prepare for the Passover? It didn't that you do on the 10th? It doesn't make any sense. They're talking about the exact same event. And anyway, that's what I'm saying. If you think this is your triumphal entry, you've still got it all happening before the 7th, where they all align. Okay? And John, thank goodness he picks it up. He gives us the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Okay? On an adult colt, but it's petite in the Greek. He rides into Jerusalem, fulfilling the second half of the prophecy that Matthew just gave half a prophecy. Mark and Luke gave no prophecy fulfillment. All right, let's go over that prophecy. You know, daughters of Zion, daughters of Jerusalem, shout, rejoice. Okay, your king is here is the prophecy. But he only mentions daughters of Zion or daughters of Jerusalem, one of the two. But that's not the people. That's not the people. Zion is a mountain range or a mountain. David had his palace there. Jerusalem is not the Israelites. Jerusalem is a city. Daughter of a city would be Bethphage, Bethany, cities in Bethany. Daughters of Zion would be Mount Olives, any other mountain around there. It's not the people that are shouting. It's the cities that are supposed to be shouting. And they did. Hosanna in the highest, throwing their garments in front. Oh, Hosanna in the highest. But that's why Matthew only quotes half the prophecy. He says it's two donkeys, okay, but he's only quoting half the prophecy. He doesn't say Jerusalem. He says daughters of Zion. John picks up the other half of the prophecy, and he throws in a little of the prophet that's called God is hid. Anyway, all right, we'll stop right there.